Hey guys, welcome to the market recap. I've got my Stream Deck configured. Hopefully you won't be able to hear a bunch of typing anymore and clicking because I'll be able to mute quickly with it. I can do all kinds of things, including pull up charts really fast through websites. So it should be fun. Very, very happy to kind of get a little more organized here and learn a lot. Real quickly, finally, after like 3 weeks, I updated the portfolio allocation. As you can see, Tesla is the major holding. I know Tesla dropped about 1% today. It looks like there's some bullshit out there. All in all, pretty amazing day today. We'll look at some stocks here in a second. Just loving the returns. It looks like Hood's up 4.5%. Gotta love that. We've got a few of the miners, MicroStrategy taking off. And just, I don't know, it's a very interesting looking market. It looks very healthy. And all right, real quickly here, let me get over to this. Let's get over to this and let's maximize a little bit. Let me see here. There we go. All right. And so the portfolio, it looks like we're going to end the day up about 55,000 on here, probably about, I don't know, maybe 70 or 80 across all accounts. So not a bad day. Like I said before, one of the real winners, at least as far as overall, would be PayPal. If you look here, you'll see brought in a lot of money with that. It looks like the 2025s actually outperformed the 2026s. That shows that we're actually starting to get a little momentum. For a while there, they were underperforming because I think the probability was so low of them actually ending up to pay, like actually getting to the point to where they'd be able to pay out. So it's nice to see that switching around now and seeing the 2025s become the ones that have the greater multiple. We want to see that. That lets us know there's life back in the call. Now, also, had some really great returns on SoFi. Again, earnings are going to be Monday for SoFi. PayPal is going to be Tuesday. Should be a lot of fun. You guys definitely have to check them out. Look at these SoFis. They were up 14.29% today with a 3.7% move in SoFi. We'll look at the ticker in a little bit. It really performed well. Tesla, again, so I lost about $15,400. I have about $520,000 now in calls in Tesla. Still happy that I sold about 2% of my position yesterday and bought, a Clean Spark and a few others. That was fun. Will you roll out your 2025s? People say roll out all the time. That just means close them and put them in something else. I've been rolling them out theoretically, right? Like I haven't sold any 2025 calls, but if you look here, I've been buying 2026s, right? I've got $175,000. Actually, it might be $200,000 in 2026s right now between this and another account. So I'm kind of like 55% in 2026 now. That's just how I do it. I place my initial bet, and then if it looks like the bet might need more time in the future, and the further outdated calls are doing well, then I look out towards those and I start purchasing them, and then I leave the existing ones alone. Sometimes if I think the existing ones are going to turn around and they're just really, really undervalued, like the 2025s, then I might jump into them again. So, all right, but yeah, let's look here. So MicroStrategy did all right, 3.56. Hood did all right, 3.24. The calls were like 11.7. That's really great. I don't own a lot, though. I don't have a lot of Hood right now. Again, I sold out of it so I could get that 60% bounce in Tesla. And I don't regret that. Flux up 0.45%. Ethy down a little bit. DLO up 0.56. CleanSpark down 1.59. Cypher down 1.13. And ARKG, Cypher up 1.13. And then ARKG is up 0.74. So that's cool. So everything's kind of looking good and heading in the right direction. I got no complaints here. Real quickly, so I got my new keyboard. So we're going to do this a little bit differently. It's kind of weird for me, but we're going to pull up the heat map for stocks. Now I can just press a button and have the things come up that I commonly use. I love that. So again, if we're looking here, NVIDIA crushed it today. Google did a good job again after great earnings yesterday, if you were here for it. Microsoft, they had a good earnings. Amazon, just rocking. All these players, all the Magnificent Seven are like, they were having a heyday today. So no complaints there. Nice to see that they're doing well. We're going to skip actually, I'll do the crypto one real quick. I might set this up a little bit differently in the future, though. Crypto coin heat map, again, down a little bit on the day, just kind of some chop, consolidating. We'll look at the chart for Bitcoin in a little bit here, and I probably got to switch some of these up. I think what I'll do in the future is I'll go over general markets in my portfolio, and then I'll go over, some macro stuff, and then I'll go over the crypto stuff, probably in that order, heading into the future here. So let's look at indices. If we look here, I'm not sure why we're doing that. Let me head out of that. If we look here, we're looking at the S&P. The S&P closed the day up 1%. Nice day for the S&P. If we look at this on the weekly time frame, this looks like a very solid bounce. So this looks great. Like, this looks great. For a Friday, for closing a week, you can't ask for more than this, guys. Oh, and let me see. I think I have a magnify button. I might test that real quick. Just let me know if did that zoom in at all when I do that? I can't tell if it's just doing it for me or if it's doing it for the image for you guys too. If you could let me know. If so, I might use that more in the future. No? Okay, thank you. All right, so I've got to figure that out. But yeah, if you're looking here, I mean, the S&P has had a heck of a bounce, guys. It's beautiful. It's that tweezer bottom that we want to see. So it's a really great place to be. And let's pull up. Let's look. We got the Nasdaq next. Oh, I love being able to press a button and have shit come up. I just want to think it. That would be even better, but we're not quite there yet. Again, if we're looking at the weekly time frame for this one, look at that. Look at that. If that doesn't signal a bottom, I don't know what does. You got to remember, the Nasdaq had dropped, almost 8%. Yeah, 8%, right? Which is a steep drop. Look at that bounce. That is such a solid bounce. This screams, let's go. Yeah, please hit the like, guys. I'm getting more efficient at everything. I can just press buttons now, and boom, we're on the Russell. So I'm saving you guys time. So hit that like, please. All right, Russell, small cap, up 1% again as well. So what do we have on the NASDAQ? We had 1.65. So the NASDAQ was really the best performer. Russell coming in like kind of a tie with the S&P. That's kind of interesting. And again, if we're looking at the weekly time frame, very nice bounce off the 200 moving average. I don't need to say much more than that. Let's see what else. Let's go to the dollar. The dollar up 0.4%. I said we could chop. I think we're chopping. It actually had a pretty good day today. I don't think it's going to last heading into next week. So we'll see if I'm right. Let's jump to gold real quick. Gold is, wow. Oh my God, guys, get ready for it. In 13 and a half years, gold is up almost 22%. Whack, whack. Nobody cares. Oil markets today, down 0.17%. So again, even there was some fear yesterday about Ukraine. A lot of headlines about Ukraine bombing a bunch of Russian oil factories. That evidently has not led into a higher oil price, which is interesting, right? Let's go to the MOVE index, the volatility index for bonds. Flat on the day. Is that right? We didn't do anything again today. Doesn't look like it. All right, so that's kind of boring. On the daily time frame, though, we're just sitting right at the 200, so it'll be interesting to see if we can go higher. If we look at the 2-year bond, we'll see that it ended flat on the day, too, right at 5%. That's a very interesting number. Seems like it's hitting a ceiling there. We'll see if that's true. Yen. We got to talk about the Japanese yen. So the yen is screaming higher, getting towards some scary levels that not seen since the 1991 range, right around there, 1990, 1991. If it breaks above this level, right around the 160 mark, we will see levels that we haven't seen since the mid-'80s. And I don't know how old you people are, but I was just a little tiny kid back then. So that's a long fucking time, right? So maybe we don't want that. Let's check the CNY. So the CNY is the Chinese yuan. Again, the dollar gaining strength against that. Still a decent ways away from the 730s. So not as much concern in that. The ruble, let's pick on Russia, at least the government. The ruble's actually doing all right. It's holding up, but it's so weird right now with the ruble because it's just, again, their markets are so segmented away from the West. It's nuts. Put call ratio, just checking it out real quick. I don't know if I'll keep this one in here in the future. It's still looking good, healthy. Remember, it was way up here and then it got diced down. We like that. All right, we're gonna jump. Let me see what else here real quick. So we got a lot of those major metrics. Before I move to stock, we're gonna jump back over. CNN Fear and Greed Index closed in fear today. I believe, yep, right at 42. I would say that this is a pretty healthy form of a bottom, and it's a little bit higher than the other one, which means it found support off of it. It's amazing how well charts can lead from one thing to another. Copper is up again. Cool. Yeah. Gold was up too. A little bit. Little baby bump. Silver was probably up too. We could take a look at that in a second. Now, I did want to point out, so this is core PCE. So I'm going to show you core, and then I'm gonna play a video here in a little bit too. We're not going to jump into the other economic stuff, but core PCE and regular PCE. If we're looking here, you can see that the level we're at is not insane. It's nothing like the 70s. Okay, we're at an okay level. We got 2.8% for actual, right? So yeah, sure, it's not 2%, but what the fuck is the goal right now? It's like the goal was 2%, right? I don't even know how likely that is. But again, we're not crazy far off of it. And then again, if you look at the PCE, annual change, does this look absolutely crazy to you? I mean, we were at these same levels in 2007, 2005, 2006, 2004, 2003, all of the 90s, we were above this. Most of the 80s and 70s, we were above this inflation level. Does this really look like a big fucking deal to anybody? It sure as fuck doesn't to me. So can we just stop talking about like inflation reoccurring right now? It could sit at these levels unless we really see a breakout in these numbers. And we're not. We're just seeing like a little bit of a drop and kind of a bottoming. The bottoming could be okay. It's seeing it go up higher that's the real problem. So I would make the argument that we've seen all of this before and it wasn't the end of the world. And I still think we're going lower. All right. I want to play this real quick. It's got a few people talking about inflation and rate cuts. I think it's really good. I like it. And I want you guys to be able to hear it. So here we go.
Also taking advantage
Wrong one.
of sell-offs in the market.
Still the wrong one.
Yeah, virtually where it began. Thanks very much, Dom. Sticky inflation forcing the market to dial back expectations of rate cuts this year. Our next two guests scaled back their expectations too, seeing just one cut in the cards likely toward the end of the year. But one of them says more cuts are needed. Joining us now, Mark Giannoni, Chief U.S. Economist at Barclays. Vahan Janjigian, he's Chief Investment Officer at Greenwich Wealth Management. And CNBC Senior Economics Reporter Steve Leisman joins us as well. Steve, let me begin with you. Take us through this morning's numbers. Tell us why they are the favored measure of the Fed and why I feel as though some of the momentum in the reduction of inflation has been quelled. We don't have as much momentum.
Yeah, I think you're right to feel that way, Tyler, and it is really backed up by the data. The Fed follows the PC because it thinks it's a better gauge of overall inflation in the economy. It de-emphasizes housing, has a little bit more medical care, and it's some other shifts in it that make it, they feel, a better gauge of the economy. We could have an argument over it. Some people like the CPI better. What happened this morning is we dodged a bit of a bullet. It wasn't as bad as it could have been. What we learned this morning, we knew yesterday that the quarterly inflation number was higher than had been expected. We wanted to know this morning when it was higher, and we learned it was more in January than it was in March. And so it's a little bit more in the rearview mirror. It's a little bit more where we thought we had an outside inflation number.
So that's a good thing, right? We want to know that the revisions for the PCE, that the inflation was more in the rearview mirror and it's not necessarily in this current month. So that's a positive, right? Let's focus on that.
Which was in the January turn of the year data that we had, a little bit less, just a touch in February, and not much more in March. Look, just because it wasn't as bad as it could have been doesn't mean it's good. You're right. Momentum has slowed when it comes to inflation. The headline ticked up. The core went sideways, and so that momentum has stalled, and all of this means the Fed has less confidence with which to cut rates. July, not really happening. September now is really the only place where we're over 50% on those probabilities, Tanner.
Vahan, I'd like you to respond to what Steve said and sort of my initial question.
So evidently I've got to get a little bit better with my mute button. I'll work on it, I promise.
I note in my notes, it says, my view is that the preponderance of evidence indicates that inflation remains on a downward trend. Tell me about that preponderance of evidence and why I feel as though that downward trend has kind of stalled.
Well, you would expect the downward trend to stall as you reach the target. We've come down a lot from the peak, and we do expect the decreases in inflation to stall as you get closer to that 2% target. And because monetary policy works with a lag, I do believe that the Fed should start decreasing rates. Now, I do expect that they will decrease rates this year, probably only once, but I think higher rate cuts are called for. And I think the bond market is already telling us that. I mean, today the bond market's actually, the yields are down despite this evidence that maybe inflation did not come down as much as we had hoped. Furthermore, I'm very concerned about the national debt and the cost of servicing that debt. And even though I know it's not in the Fed's mandate, I think there will be growing pressure on the Fed to start decreasing rates so that the government can roll over some of this debt at shorter yields. And if they reduce that Fed funds rate, I do not expect longer term rates to go down. I expect them to remain at about the same levels, maybe even closer to 5%. But I would say that would be a good thing because it will make the yield curve normalize and become upward sloping again.
Right. Before I turn to you, Mark, let me just follow up on something, Vahan, you just mentioned, and that is one of the reasons, if I'm understanding it, that you believe that the Fed should cut rates and should do it in a series, in other words, more than just one over the next, let's say, year or so, is because you are concerned about the amount of debt service cash that the federal government has to pay at these high.
Geez, has anybody been talking about that? This guy, okay? The government has an unsustainable amount of debt servicing. We went from $350 billion before the pandemic in yearly interest for our federal government to $900 billion now. It's almost $1 trillion. It's higher than Medicare, Medicaid, and defense. It's the highest line item on our budget right now for the government. I mean, like it's kind of important that we can bring that down. And if we keep rates high, it's going to fuck that. And then our debt becomes unserviceable. It makes it to where we literally can't pay our fucking bills anymore. If you don't think that's a priority to the Fed, you're not paying attention.
Higher rates to service the federal debt. You lower those rates, the debt service comes down, and that frees up more money for other things like defense or human health and other things.
Well, you're correct that I'm concerned about that. However, the Fed is probably going to ignore that because, as I said, that's not in their mandate. They're going to say, let the government reduce the debt, do it on the fiscal side rather than the monetary side. But I think the Fed will face pressure to do something.
Yeah. All right, Mark, let me turn to you and get your view on interest.
Agreed.
Rates and the numbers that came out today. You're in the probable rate cut camp, but have recently said and sort of reiterated just a few hours ago the idea that, well, there's a long shot possibility maybe that they would even raise interest rates, though that is not your base case.
Yeah, thanks, Tyler. Thanks for having me. It's not our base case. Our base case is for the Fed to cut rates once this year. We think that given the recent evolution of inflation, the reacceleration of inflation indeed that we got in the first quarter, and the still strong prints that we saw even in March, we think that we are on a trend down on inflation. It's gradually going to come down later in the year, and in that case, the Fed will be allowed to or will be able to cut rates, but we don't think it will be able to do that more than once this year.
What are you seeing, Mark, in terms of the economy? We had a GDP number yesterday that some people were disappointed by. Where are you on the current health of the U.S. and the global economy, for that matter?
Right. So we think the health of the U.S. economy is still very good. The overall economic activity is still strong. It's true that GDP yesterday printed lower than expectations by quite a margin, actually with a 1.6% growth rate. But the underlying demand is still very strong. A lot of that weakness was reflecting in strong imports, was reflecting in destocking, so lower inventory contributions. And so we think that if you look at the overall demand, it's still pretty strong. And in fact, it hasn't changed much from the pace we have seen in the third and fourth quarter of last year, where we had remarkably strong growth. This, together with the monthly profile of consumption,
I do agree that growth is strong. I agree with what he's saying here.
that we got this morning tells us that there's still quite a bit of momentum as we go into Q2. So we think that there is some support here on consumption in the second quarter. For the outlook further down, we see some gradual slowing and returning basically back to trend growth towards the end of this year, but still a pretty resilient economy until then.
Steve, why don't you just react to what you've just heard? And I guess one of the questions...
Real quick, before Steve does. Intelligent Computing said, what happens to tax revenue in 2025 and beyond as Optimus starts causing mass layoff? Only half joking. So I think initially what we'll see will not be so much mass layoff as mass efficiency gain. If you could buy an Optimus, like they were saying, for $20,000 and you can fill these up. I mean, first they're going to fill them up in their own factories, right? But if you could start to fill them up, send them out there, getting them to where they're used, to where they can help people, and they're a low cost, you'll see just massive efficiency gains. Eventually that will lead to layoffs, and you will have to have higher tax revenues, especially from megacorps. I think that's kind of an inevitability with automation and autonomy and greater efficiency. These companies, as you can already see, look at the Magnificent Seven. They make so much fucking money right now. That's only going to increase, right? That's only going to increase. Tesla is going to be another one of these giants, probably the biggest. And so you'll see these mega corps, and their tax burden will become larger, and only fairly so, because it won't matter as much as they just scale profits and almost just print free money. And they'll just be so much larger than everything else around them. So taxes will go up. That's how that works. All right, Steve's turn.
I would have is why on a day when inflation came in a little tiny, maybe a bit hotter than expected, would yields decline, as Vahan pointed out?
Well, I mean, first of all, yields have come a long way in the past month or so, so there's plenty of room for them to come down with the overshoot. I think it's because of what I was saying earlier, Tyler, because I think the market was braced for the possibility that extra inflation could have shown up in March. And while Vahan is right and Mark is right, we did have a higher number in March than we would have liked. It was still not the number. I went into the numbers, Tyler, with a very simple metric in my mind. 0.3 was good, and 0.4 was bad, and it came in at 0.3. So that was okay. I am really interested, though, in what economists and forecasters are doing for the second quarter. We're going to report our Fed survey data on Monday, but I am seeing some numbers, Tyler, if you can believe it, north of 3%. It may be because of what was just discussed. We've had 2 quarters of inventory drawdown. We might have an inventory build. We had a big negative shock when it came to terms of trade. It was minus 9.9%. So almost a full percentage point. That may be something that comes back. But I'm seeing numbers. I think Goldman just put out their tracking forecast at 3.5. Atlanta Fed just started GDP now at 3.9%. So I get what Mark is saying about, hey, this weakness has to come eventually. But at least in the initial drawing of the second quarter outlook here, I'm not seeing much weakness, and I didn't see much economic weakness in the first quarter either.
Vahan, let me give you the last word and let you put on your chief.
Real quick, there's conversation going on in chat that says, hey, Jesse, what do you think about Biden's capital gains tax proposal? I think it's fucking idiotic. And I think Gorgo's right. It'll never pass. It's just something you push out for your base to say, hey, we tried this, but the other side didn't let us do it. So you need to vote for us more if you want us to do the things. But it would never pass, and it would be incredibly detrimental to America if we incentivize people to step away from the capital markets and not help fund, all these different stocks that are doing amazing things, right? Like all these companies that need capital. And especially at a time where we're probably going to see more money flooding into smaller caps at a time when they need it. It would just be really fucking stupid. Really fucking stupid.
Chief Investment Officer hat and talk about a couple of the areas you like: financials, biotech, IBM, and Verizon.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, I would say I agree with what Steve just said. I do expect second quarter GDP growth to be much better. And as Mark pointed out, one of the reasons we
imagine what happens if second quarter GDP is better, guys.
saw a weak number recently was because of those net exports. But yes, I have been taking advantage of what's been going on in the market. One thing I've been doing is buying a lot of T-bills. I continue to buy short-term T-bills and roll them over because I believe.
Real quickly, he didn't say long-term. He didn't say 20-year bonds, right? He said short-term T-bills. He's getting a high interest on his cash, but he doesn't want to hold anything with a long duration because of the issues that go along with just being able to ensure that the government can even pay you back in 20 years.
The Fed is giving us a gift by keeping rates this high, even though I believe rates shouldn't be that high, but I'm taking advantage of that with excess cash that I don't have a strong conviction for.
Bye, Gorgo. Take it easy, man.
But I'm also taking advantage of sell-offs in the market, and I have put some money to work in a couple of ETFs, the XLF, which is the financial ETFs, and the XBI, which tracks biotech companies. I do like IBM and Verizon, and I would point out that these are two stocks that are very much like bonds. They pay very generous dividends, but unlike bonds, those dividends grow over time. Both companies have been increasing their dividends every year for a long period of time. And even though you haven't seen much of it, they do give you the opportunity of getting some capital gains over longer.
Vahan, thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Vahan Janjigian and Mark Giannone. Steve Lee.
All right. The guy that was talking last to Bahanan, whatever his name was, I don't know if you heard him, but he was buying financials, and we're going to be looking at some, stocks today like PayPal and SoFi. And you tell me what you think about how well they're doing today. I'd say it's pretty good. All right, so real quickly, I will cover a couple of things super fast. God, the Stream Deck is already so much more efficient. I just feel like I'm rolling through stuff. So real quickly, the Michigan. So we already covered like the PCE data. We're good there, right? Michigan consumer sentiment final was 77.2. It was supposed to be 77.8 or 77.9, depending upon consensus and forecast. So it came in lower than expected. Michigan 5-year inflation expectations, 3%, right in line. Michigan consumer expectations, 76 versus 77 and 77. Michigan current conditions, 79 versus 79.3. Michigan inflation expectations, 3.2% versus 3.1. So essentially looking a little bit weaker across the economy within the Michigan sector, and inflation expectations were a little bit higher than normal. That's it. China over the weekend, we're going to get industrial profit numbers. I got a feeling they're going to pump them because they're trying to provide liquidity to their market. Starting off next week, all we have is Dallas Fed manufacturing index and then China stuff on Monday. There's nothing else. Tuesday, we get some employment cost stuff, some quarterly stuff. I love digging into those details. That should be fun. We're going to get retail data. We're going to get housing data. We're going to get Chicago PMI. We're going to get just a lot of different stuff, but no real data on Monday whatsoever. Now, real quickly, after what we saw today from the PCE data and everything else, and I'm going to try and be efficient with your time here since this is every day I'm going to start trying to do that. Now that I'm gaining efficiency, you guys are going to get efficiency back. All right, so 11.5% chance of a June rate cut. Super low, right? Like basically non-existent in June right now. We'd have to see some major changes in the data over the month of April and leading into June. It happens. So we have 6 weeks, right? So there could be some, but I would say it's pretty safe at this point, despite me not wanting to, that we're pushing it to July, unless just something major changes. I'm moving it to July in my mind. Now this is only a 1 to 3 rate, or 1 to 3 ratio right now, roughly, that this could occur. So July isn't even that great right now. It's a 30% chance. I think that's going to change. Real quickly before I get to this slide. So we're done with the macro portion now, guys. Now I'm going to jump back over and we're going to start looking at stocks. Jesse, would you do a poll to see where viewers are from around the world? Perhaps you know off the top of your head. I don't know if I could do that easily in a poll because you only get to like punch in a couple of options. But if I figure out a way to do something like that, I'll definitely try. There's people from all over though, man. Like all over for sure. Like I get people from Singapore, all over Europe, South America, Central America, some people in Hong Kong at least, maybe in China, Australia, like everywhere you could think of. I've got people from. All right, so real quickly, let's pull up Tesla first before we get into the Bitcoin world too much. I got to figure out how I'm going to lay all that out. But Tesla was down 1.11% today. Nothing too crazy with them as far as like the actual TA itself. It looks good. We have this gap below. I don't think we're going to fill it. I think we were just taking a break here. If I open up, let me pull up the BRVP. I don't know why it's minimized right now. I must have hit it for some reason. Maybe I did it for earnings. That's probably why. So if I go back here, you can see how we're just hitting this volume shelf. That's the real thing that's happening. And let's just look at this on the weekly because we just closed the week, right? So that's helpful to look at. So if we look at this on the weekly, it's kind of stupid. Look at this. We bullishly engulfed. No, we didn't quite bullishly engulf. But dude, this is sick. This is a sick bounce on the weekly time frame. This is beautiful. We're already above this downward trend that started over 3.5 months ago. And we closed the week there on our first attempt. So you can see where we have some volume in here. I think we could get some chop, but I still think that by the end of next week, there's a high likelihood that we get to the 185 to 190 range. I like that range. I think that's a fun range to be in. I don't hate it. Now, if we look at daily moving averages, we'll see here too, we got the 50 providing a little bit of resistance at the 175. And then again, the 197, we see the 100. So really, it's the next big thing is going to be trying to fill this daily gap in the 185, 189 range. That's the big thing that's going to be coming next. And real quickly, let me just do this. I'm going to hop over. Yeah, I'm going to hop over here. I'm going to start segmenting these things by the category type, the thing that we're talking about. So I've got to organize that a little bit better, but I'll get there. So real quickly, so if we look at Tesla, we see that they published a patent of their AI supercomputer Dojo yesterday. So they have a new patent now for Dojo. So some people say that, oh, they've open sourced all their patents. They open sourced a lot of their patents so that other companies could catch up. They're not doing that with their AI. They're not doing that with Dojo. They're not doing that with like advanced chemistry in their battery systems. They're still keeping some strategic edge, just so you guys know. And again, we've got a patent for Dojo. And as we saw from those slides during the earnings call, like they're not messing around. They're still making Dojo happen, and they've got plenty of compute right now. So things are going good. This one, right. We just got this today, 2 hours ago. It says Tesla FSD 12 is running in Europe, Germany, and Tesla is giving demos to regulators. So we might see FSD $99 subscriptions going live here soon in parts of Europe. Pretty cool. More revenue, more margin coming in. You can't hate it at all. Add a programmable gaming keyboard, not just for gaming. I've got a $300 keyboard, and yes, I can program it. Yeah, I might do some of that. I'm actually probably going to get another Stream Deck too, man, because you can get like multitudes of these that do different functions. And so I'm probably going to have a minimum of 2 Stream Decks, maybe 3. Intelligent computing, Control Alt H toggles drawings on and off in trading view. Not sure what the shortcut on the Mac is. Cool, man. Good to know. All right, so this is cool. So this is cool for Tesla. It's great to see. I don't think that's pretty much all I got for them. So we're done there. Let's go on to PayPal. So PayPal's chart. They closed the week sick, guys. This is in breakout mode. This looks great. So if we look here, again, I'm not changing any lines. This is the old inverse head and shoulders, right? It's kind of 2 patterns right now. Both of them are fucking bullish. We have support that the previous resistance lines going back to the birth of this company. I'm just kidding. April 2022. We've got this resistance line that finally turned into support. And then this last week, I should say, ended that way last week, right at the support level. And then the beginning of this week, it was above peak volume, and then closed the week right at the resistance line. So this is, not only is this an inverse head and shoulders, which has a measured move into the 90s, right? Not only is it that, but it also has a cup and handle here real quickly, that if you just draw this out and you look to the neckline of the cup and handle, and then put it over here where the neckline, where we break out of it, you're looking at another decent move in the cup and handle. Again, 2 bullish patterns embedded within each other is not a bearish thing by any means. If there's anything I can get into your head. So I think we'll make an attempt pretty easily this next week. If there's decent earnings, we go to 73. If we get above 73, guys, and we get up to like the 77 level because there's some crazy earnings thing that happened, and people are getting excited about this company. If we get above that 11%, and again, maybe that's our resistance level for earnings. I might even sell a little bit. Maybe 10% of my 2025 is at that level. If we get that 11% on earnings because we did a good job, great. We could chop underneath of this, maybe between the 100 and maybe around this, maybe a little bit down towards the fib at the 68, 69 level, and before heading higher. I don't think that that's a crazy move that gives us, because again, it's like 25% to the next fib line here. So we've got a ways to go. But I just wanted to point out that is sitting pretty good. Now, real quickly, and I'm just going to go back here to PayPal, see if I got anything new here. Nope, I didn't load that right. So I'll work on that next time. Let's get the next chart, and then we'll go from there. And that's going to be Hood, and I do have the Hood one. So we'll pull that up in a second here. Again, I'm just trying to figure out the sequence. I'm going to try and get this where we stick with individual concepts, where when I'm talking about a stock, I'm giving you the news related to that stock right after we pull up the chart. And if we need to look at the financials, we'll do that. But we'll basically be segmenting them by their individual pieces. And same with the macro. We'll try and keep that lumped, and then we'll try and keep crypto lumped. So we're going to do that going forward. And I'll try and finalize the order, but that's kind of what we're looking at. I love the way Hood closed on the week, up 4.44% is a beautiful move, barely down in after hours, gets us above that fib line for the first time really as a retest. So we've actually, I thought we were going to go back maybe down to here in the 14s. I don't know if it's happening, guys. We actually closed the week up here, and we're starting to test above this 1 fib, And if that keeps happening, you know, it's not a very long trip to get back up here. And with what I'm going to show you right now with Hood, there's a good reason why they might do all right. So this is from Vlad Tenev. Excuse me, Amit posted this as well. It just says, update from less than a month later. Robinhood retirement has now hit $6 billion in assets under custody. Couldn't wait to get a designer to update this, so I took it into my own hands. He literally just crossed it out. So that's fucking crazy. I just want to be clear. That's crazy. They're already up another $2 billion. And I think Amit had a post on this too. I must have grabbed the wrong one. I wish I would have got his. He had a really good comment about it, how quickly they moved. These guys were under $1 billion not too long ago, like the beginning of the year, and now they're at 6. So you could tell things are working good. You could tell the gold card is going good. Oh, and I posted about my gold card membership. I'm only 3 away from getting an actual gold card. So if you guys could do that. But if you can't do that, at least hit the fucking like and show some gratitude whatsoever. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, next. So Hood looks great. Looks like it wants to fly. Let's pull up some SoFi. Oh, I already love the flow for this. Do you guys like the flow? Is it better? I feel like it's just moving, especially for a Friday. We got to be efficient, right? We got to get shit done. All right. If you can't hear the excitement with SoFi, 3.69% on the day, and in after hours, it's up almost a fucking percent. That's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet. So that's a heck of a move, guys. We're getting a real good bounce. This is a great weekly close. Like I've said before, on the weekly here, we got the 50 up here. If we can get through that, we got all the moving averages underneath of us. If we can get above the .618 and start to grind up here underneath this resistance zone that goes back to the beginning of time, this thing is going much, much, much higher. And I like that. So again, earnings on Monday. Don't miss it. Also, my buddy Jake, he's actually pretty good. He likes to play around with his WAP. Don't tell Jake I said that, but he loves it so much. Anyway, he was showing here how we've broken above resistance lines, key resistance lines, and we look like we're ready for a breakout. Now, he's just going back to March, but I agree with him. And then also, I just wanted to remind you guys, you might not have been paying attention. I haven't been talking about SoFi as much. I need to. But if you look here, people have been upgrading. They've been upgrading. Analysts are upgrading. And so we're looking to have this go a lot higher. And also, now that I'm good with my Stream Deck and I've figured out a lot on OBS, I'm going to tweak some of that stuff. But I will be moving into trying to use my new membership with Seeking Alpha. And then again, Macro, Micro, and then Ortex. I'm going to try and use these things more so I can really hone in on these tools so that I can add them to the market recap in whatever way they're best suited. And just I'm trying to make it to where I just have so much good information for you guys, and I can just clearly bring it up every single day. So I'm going to keep working on that and trying to crush it. All right, let's jump into Square. I posted a bunch of stuff about Square yesterday. They're doing like a mining equipment thing. They're allowing people with the Cash App to be able to put 10% of their money and convert it over to Bitcoin, like I think using the Lightning Network. Like they're doing a bunch of shit. And again, finance is pumping. I made a video a while ago that was based off of an interview from somebody who was like a former chief financial officer or something at like Truist, one of these investment firms. And he was talking about how the environment we're looking to head into with the potential of rates lowering soon could be very, very beneficial for, I don't know why I just did that twice. Stop it. What is happening? Weird. Anyway, could be very beneficial for financials. And we're seeing that today, guys. Financials have been pumping. So I like where I'm seeing with Square, but I want to see us get above this downward trend line. Again, we broke above it, couldn't stay above it, dropped underneath of it. Now we've got moving averages pushing us higher. We've done a decent back test over here and managed to close higher. Really, I want to see us get above this red line at the 74.48 range. If we could do that and establish support there, I think it's off to the races to test the 200 moving average, which is at $127. I only have I want to say $8,000 right now in Square in calls, so I don't have a lot. I want more. Hey, bro, can you give your opinion on Snap? I will. As last time I looked at them, their financials were shit. Justin, are PayPal and SoFi options only plays moving because earnings are coming up, which makes the IB higher? Yeah, so earnings are coming up, but you got to remember people are betting long and short. I mean, the price is going up, right? Like the price is going up. That makes the options do really well. That's the key driver, though. Dominic, there was some FUD around 2 U.S. senators wanting Tesla to restrict auto. Oh, I saw that bullshit. God, I didn't even post about it because it's so fucking stupid. It's something that's been happening for a long time, and then people will post about how the NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic and Safety Commission, is investigating some deaths tied around autopilot. Guys, they're always doing that. They're investigating everything for fucking everybody all the fucking time. It's how it works. It doesn't mean shit. It's just a headline grabber for the shorts to have a minute of fame. That's literally fucking all it is. So don't pay attention to that bullshit. All right, Palantir. Oh, this is going to make me so much more efficient. I'll be able to post much better articles in the future. Guys, shit's going to get a lot better here soon. I'm really excited about it. Palantir had a hell of a bounce. Super proud of Palantir. I am moving into the bullish camp on Palantir right now. I like the fact that it clearly, again, tweezer bottom off the .786. I also believe we had some really good news here recently. I don't know if I have it queued up the way I want it, but we're going to try and find it at least. They had a new contract that came up. And again, now that I don't have to do all this busy bullshit work, guys, that I was having to do before, which is just exciting. So now I'm going to be able to do a better job for you guys and bringing these things up. I know, you know what, maybe it was just Amit. Let me see if I can find Amit. I know he posted something. Hopefully he doesn't post too many things. Oh, there he is with his little Vlad, his little buddy. Palantir short float update. Cool. He's starting to post short float. Anyway, there's a contract. I'll try and find it some other time. I can't find it right now. But again, now that I can focus, now that I can actually focus on these articles, and I'll have to figure out why that's happening. Now that I can focus on getting you guys better articles in my sequence, and I kind of get my flow better, since I've got so much of this automated, I'll be able to give you guys much better news events. But I do believe there's a contract. Let me see if I can even find it here. Palantir stock has AI upside, but the valuation is excessive. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of fair. But again, if they're pumping out contract after contract after contract, I think they're going to do great. Earnings are coming up. Definitely fucking covering those. Maybe I can do something with Amit. I love hanging with Amit. He's the coolest. All right, ARKG, let's get there. All right, ARKG up 0.74%. It's getting a baby bounce. Maybe it means something. I do like the fact that we have a higher low here on the weekly time frame versus the one that we had in October. So we're pumping back 6 months, a half a year, and we're seeing a higher low. And if that can establish itself back above this previous resistance line that kind of briefly turned into support and turn it into it again, then I think we're off to the races. And I do think that we're looking at markets that are looking to broaden. Flux. I need to get DLO on here too. I don't have it. I'll have to manually pull that one up. Flux, trying to test up below key volumes. I'm not really excited about Flux until it can start to get support above like the 520 range. Needs it. All right. Let me see. I'll pull up DLO here. Oh, I love how much smoother all this is going. I'm just rocking and rolling. It's only 342 and we got most of this shit done. And then we'll jump over into Bitcoin here in a second and crypto markets. Flux up 0.56%, or I'm sorry, DLO. We were pulling up DLO. Up 0.56%. I love the fact that we closed above the fib on the weekly. That's great. And then I love, again, that we looked to test down towards peak volumes and we didn't even touch it, but we stayed above the fib. I would like to see us get above the .618 again. Then we're going to start to see some pressure in this breakout zone that goes back to August of 2023. And I will be doing earnings here in the next couple of weeks on DLO, Flux, every fucking company I cover, and a few more. So again, Monday, SoFi, Tuesday, PayPal, and then I don't even know what the rest of the week is, but it's going to be fun. All right. Bitcoin. Actually, before we even get to that, shitcoin portfolio, 255. So it's down a little bit, I think, from yesterday. I think it was a little bit higher. I don't exactly remember how much. Somebody said, hey, why don't you have Doge? I have Doge. I have a bunch of shit. This is my main portfolio, but there's like another third of it is sitting in another portfolio in a Robinhood account. So this isn't all of it, right? This is just some of it. I have about $400,000 in shitcoins. And I'm hoping it's going to be a much bigger number in the near future. Now, real quickly, I did want to cover this. So it looks like for the week, we're doing all right on the top 100 cryptos. If we look at the daily, though, they took a hit, right? They're down for the week. So today, the thing that was really showing the resilience is miners. And we'll look at that in a second. And of course, well, some miners, I should say, and MicroStrategy. Let's pull it up. Dude, I'm so much quicker at this now. I fucking love this so much. MicroStrategy, again, let's go to the weekly here. This is going to be the fun part. So again, we had tested this downward resistance line that went back to the beginning of the dot-com bubble. I'm not even joking when I fucking say that. Well, I should say, yeah, 2000, the dot-com bubble, right? So, and then this line over here that was literally like one of the last cycles, or the last cycle peak. So we tested the dot-com bubble in the last cycle peak in Bitcoin's history, and we turned that into support, and then we quickly rocketed above the fib. And now I think we're ready to test higher. I think Bitcoin is kind of doing a grind, and I think that that's going to change a little bit here in a little bit. And you know what? I didn't pull up Bitcoin. I'll get to this here too. So some people might look at this and think it's bearish. I can tell you where the pressure is. The pressure right now is, again, we've got some upward pressure right up here, right? But there's a lot of support, a ton of support underneath of here. Do I think that by this weekend we might have tested down to here one last time at the 59s? I should say testing 60, maybe cracking underneath of it for a minute. I think that's totally possible. Again, we've had some major wick moments, but we pump on the weekend. It's the markets have been showing that, and maybe they squeeze the altcoins a little bit when that happens. But I think that Bitcoin's going up, guys. And thank you to the 400 people that are currently here. If you guys could hit the like button, it is greatly appreciated. You supporting me allows me to support you better. All right, let's get to Mara. So I love shitting on the Mara pigs because they're just trash human beings, but most of them, I won't say all, most, maybe 99%, let's just say 99%. But I've said this for like the last week plus. Mara will have its moment, and I think its moment is here. I think it's going higher. It's back above the 50 again. You got to realize this thing went from 34 to 14. That's a huge fucking drop. That's an over 60% drop right there, guys. Or right about, it's like 57, 58. So that's painful, right? So it's getting its moment now. And I think it could outperform CleanSpark. I think it could outperform a bunch of miners, but up to 2.21% on the day, down 0.26% after hours. And I don't have this article pulled up right now. Again, I'm going to get better at this. I'm going to organize these things in my bookmarks too for X, so I'll just be able to crush it. But these guys are shooting for 50 exahash by the end of this year. Now, I don't know how attainable that is because their history tells us that they suck at the actual mining part, but they got a wicked stack of Bitcoin, right? Like by far the biggest. Cores used to be the biggest, but they lost it all. So, but that's going to be huge for Mara. The FASB accounting rules and their stack, it's going to give them some big cojones coming up. So whether they're good at mining or not, whether or not they're going to hit their 50 exahash or not, I don't even know if it fucking matters. I think that they're going to do really well and probably outperform. CleanSpark said they're going to get to 30 exahash at the end of this year. So again, not quite what Mara is saying they're going to get, but CleanSpark will actually get there. They don't disappoint you. But their stack, they got a little baby stack, little tiny stack compared to Mara. Just not the same numbers. Mara has so much more. But I do love this. I love that we try to test down to the .618 fib retracement level. And for the first time here on the way down, we found support and didn't just crack underneath of it like we've done 4 other times before. So I think with CleanSpark, I mean, maybe we tested out 618 again around the 18 level, right, in the high 17s. But it's over. We're going up. Tyler, I love the dedication to your show. Make sure you give this man a like. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Intelligent Computing, Jesse, help me help you. Or was that Jerry? Maytag, hey Jesse, another great market week. Thanks for your content. Everyone should join your channel. Hey man, if you guys want to join and spend $3 a month, I think that's cheaper than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, a company I would buy coffee from daily and then short, and I made money off of it. Anyway, but it's not a lot of money, right? So, and if you could support this channel, it supports me more, and if I'm supported more, I can do more for you guys. That's the way I look at it, at least. Cameron Dane, Jesse, thanks for all your hard work. Can you look up? Yep, I will do that in a second. Paul Mulligan, you can tell Jesse loves this shit. I do, man. I love it when I can get better at something. I love when I can automate something. I love it when I can provide a unique insight that other people can't do. I would love to build an AI that can do more than me, so that I could just fucking hang out here with you guys, and it could give us all these updates. That's what I'm shooting for. Kind of a long-term goal. We'll see if I accomplish it. All right. Anyway, CleanSpark, like I said, they're trying to get to 30 exahash. I think they said by summer. I don't know. I think it was June. They're going to try and be at 20. Here's the thing. These guys do, like I said, work to outperform. So I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the year, maybe they hit 35. And then maybe with Mara, we hear 40. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think that it could play out that way. Real quickly, Cypher. And I'll throw bet farms up in here in the future too. I don't have it right now, but I'll load it in my deck. Cypher real quick. Again, here's the thing I like about Cypher. Peak volumes in the first fib right underneath us. Can't stay underneath of it anymore. Here's the peak volumes down here. It was under it for a long time. Really solidly turned it into support. Broke out hard. Dropped back down. Now we back tested the fib and all volume, all major volume. There's no volume underneath of us until the $9, guys. That's a doubling. So it just feels like that is coming soon. And I wouldn't be surprised at the very least to see us test up towards the .382 and the $6 range soon. If Bitcoin takes off, this fucker is going to roll. Cypher showing a lot of strength. Yeah, and it's got just, the important thing is it's got a ton of support. That's the really important thing, guys. Here, I'll do BITF real quick. Hey, Jesse, big fan, and thanks for all the hard work you do for us. Can you look at 4? Yes, I will. Give me a little bit here. I'll go back in line, and I'll start at the top here, and I'll start pulling up ticker symbols in a second. We are so much faster than normal, guys. If you can't hit the like for how much quicker this is and how much time I'm saving you on a Friday, then you are a fucked up human being. I just want to say that. Bitfarms, down 2.24% on the day, but up 1% after hours. Can't hate that. That's kind of cool. Let's look at it on the weekly view. Oh, I'm going to be able to be so much quicker in the future. There's so many other things I'm getting ready to do. And I might even hire out. I'm probably going to hire out an editor in a little bit, not right away. And I might hire out some people to do some logistical work for finding articles for all the things that I track. So I might be looking for 2 hires. I got to get up there a little bit more. I got to get a few more of those $3 subscriptions. But ideally, I would like to do something like that, and then I'll use AI to the tits, whatever I can. Now, I don't like the fact that we did. Well, you know what though? Yeah, this is such a funny line right here for the support and resistance, because on the weekly it has wicks in it, right? So if we actually draw this down right now towards the wick level, like if we just ignore the daily and say, hey, let's look at the wicks and see if we're establishing a base, I would actually argue that last week we established a base, and then we tested it again this week on Bitfarms, and that we've stayed there. I think that's great. I think it's a matter of testing back up to the 247 range. I don't love this one as much as some of the others, but from a technical standpoint, I mean, you gotta respect the teeniness of their baby cap, right? They've got $591 million fucking dollars. That is nothing. That is nothing. It is such a tiny amount of money. So, and again, if we just, let's do a look here. So Cypher is what I call a small cap. They're 1.33 billion. So this other one is like 45% of that. So if you own Bitfarms because it's a small cap, that could turn out all right for you. We'll see in the future. They got some stuff to show. I'm not super in love with Canadian miners. I think Hut came from Canada too, or was at least like semi-based out of there, and kind of a fucking miserable experience with them too. All right, let me see something real quick here. I want to see. I'm gonna pull something up on my screen. I don't know my YouTube counter. Oh, there it was. Oh, now it's gone. Oh, now it's back. Okay. Whatever. All right. I don't know why. It's finally working. Okay, cool. All right. So I think we're done with all that. That's cool. Let me see if there's anything else I want to go. All right. No, I think that's it. So I'm just going to bring one of these over, and we'll start doing stock requests. I cannot believe that even with watching an interview here, we've got stock requests 53 minutes into the stream. That's really cool. So this is exciting, guys. Meta, can you take a look at the chart, please, and thank you? Yes, sir, I can. Let's save this real quick. Oh, it's going to be... So here's the thing. I don't want to drone on for hours at a time, guys. I want to create more efficiency, too. So the quicker I can do this and get about my day, I think it's going to help the show. And I think it's going to obviously help you guys because you'll have more of your time, right? Nobody wants to do this shit on a weekend. We got fun things we want to do, including myself. I'm going to a movie with my wife and daughter tonight. It's dinner and a movie. And that's a fun couple of people to be with. So I want to get to it. But yeah, so Meta, you can't hate the bounce here. And I called it just the other day. I said, Meta, we're going up, right? We hit the 415. We closed the daily gap. You can't see it right now here, but if we move over, you can see the daily gap. We closed it, and I said we're going higher. And so we went from 415 to 443. I can't hate that kind of move over a short period of time. It's a lot of money. Meta from the lows, close to the range of where I was buying options on it, is up almost 400%. So it's making its recovery. I think it deserves to, despite how the shitty job Zuck did on the conference call. Basically just calling out all the future expenses they're going to have and how they don't know how they're going to make money from it yet. Just not really done well. It was nice to see Google take a few lessons from them and do a better job. Anyway, that's Meta. Henry, can you look at KYT and Poet? Hopefully, Henry, you are an alpha or a whale, because those are the people that get more than one ticker symbol normally. I'm going to pull up Poet first because I know that's a popular one that a few people want me to look at. So real quickly, and I'll get better with this hotkey too, making it to where I can quickly load one of these. So this is the one that ticker symbol U posted about. I've been warning people to watch out for it. It's just, here's the scary thing, guys. This is a hell of a fucking bounce. And so it could, if you don't know what you're doing with this one, just please keep in mind that in a period of, I think this is a week, but let's just find out here. This thing has went 147% in a little over a week. Okay. And I think some of that is just is occurring because of the fact that ticker symbol U talked about this. It's $106 million market cap. You got to remember, this guy's bigger than I am, right? When I did Matterport, I moved that fucking stock myself with 5% purchase in their stock. I say I moved it 5% with a purchase that was like 20 or 30 grand. So, and I moved it 5%, and it was just a little bit smaller than this one. So I worry that a lot of the pump you're seeing right now is because he said good things about it. And that could be good, right? But if we look at tickers, or if we look at Poet, and we actually look at what they're doing for revenues, and again, you guys in chat, you tell me if there's more to this that I'm missing, please do it. But if we look at Poet here, their revenues are non-existent, okay? 0.11 revenue. So I don't know if ticker symbol U posted this as something that was very speculative in a small cap. I hope he at least disclosed what he holds in this company for shares, because he should at least be doing that if he's going to talk about something this small. At least I tell you guys, hey guys, here's this thing about Flux, check it out. I bought some, and here's the video about it, and here's how much I own, right? You know what I'm doing. So just watch out for this shit, please. It's a little scary when something's this small and somebody pumps it. Don't get fucked, guys. So that's my take on that one. It's just that I don't, and again, everything he said, it all looks very impressive in the video, but he's not always right. He's talked shit about Tesla, and his statements weren't that thoughtful, which I thought was surprising to me, because he seems like somebody who is a very thoughtful person, and I think he gets it right, like NVIDIA and stuff like that. But I don't know what is that KYT or SKYT? Okay, let me see. Maybe that's it. Yeah, there we go. Skywater. Okay, so I'll get this other one for you, Henry. Tweezer bottom. Fucking love that. This is a $460 million stock. We're also pressing right up against peak volumes right now. This looks very it looks bouncier than what PayPal and some of these other companies did, but it's got that typical 2021, triple double top, and then just a massive crash. So we were sitting at, 35s, we dropped down to 4s. That's quite a drop. Let me see what this company though, what do the financials look like? Oh, I found some really, I've been talking to the TradingView guys. They've been consulting with me a little bit too and showing me some of their tools, guys. a bunch of stuff I wasn't even using, getting very excited. It's amazing. All these companies, if you start to get a following, they all of a sudden want you to use their products and will give you tons of alpha on how to use them. So very exciting. It should help all of us a lot in the very near future. Now, these guys pulled in, market cap's $458 million. They are seeing 22% revenue growth year over year. That's an interesting number. PE is stupid high, it says, for Forward. They're losing $10 million a quarter, and they're making $79 million. They've got more debt than assets. They're diluting shares. They had positive cash flow last quarter. I don't hate that. Estimates are making more money and maybe actually, again, continuing to have, maybe getting to net income positive, maybe, at least with share dilution, at the very least, by getting you guys to fund it. Institutional ownership's going up. If we do the extended here, Alejandro, I love all this, man. I'm still super happy you did all this. I don't know. They're not buying their stock a lot, right? Nothing too interesting for me in this one. If they can get their net income to where it's more positive, or they keep that growth rate up, then maybe I get more interested. But at least right now, it seems overvalued for all the stock. What is their stock-based comp? It's stock-based comp. Oh, it's 1.5%. So I guess they're not doing that much, but again, they're diluting. So your stock isn't going to be super great, I don't think, personally. But I like the bottom. Let's look at that. Let's just do a fib retracement and say, or not a fib retracement, an extension. So we started down here. We started at the bottom. Now we're here, but then we're back down here. And boom. So we closed above the .786. We need to get above the peak volumes. This looks like a bouncer. I think that this thing could go to $20 if the general markets do all right. It could because it's been in here a lot, and it could finally have its moment where it turns around. And if you look here, I don't know, it's hard to say what it is. It's like a weird left shoulder, weird head, maybe a baby right shoulder, and then a moment to take off. You can definitely see this, right? Maybe you can see this, I don't know. You can see where we had all this peak resistance. We turned it into support. We had a really strong tweezer bottom here. And if we get above these volumes, get above the 1160 range, I just think it's game on, right? Like, I think it's game on for this one. All right. Hey, Jesse, Intelligent Computing says, please take a look at GFS. Okay. And remember, guys, if you're a member of this channel, you get access to request that I pull up a stock. You can say, if you want to, just do the $ and what the stock is. That's super helpful. And if you also just want me to look at the financials, but you don't want me to look at the fundamentals, I can tell you that too, just from that perspective. That is up to you. I like personally doing them both because I think that ends up giving you more information. That's my take. I think ticker symbol, you did not disclose how many shares of Poet he had. I don't like that. Don't like that. BD, thanks, Jesse. Have a nice weekend. You too, bud. Pak Chiu, SoFi looking good for earnings. I think really good, man. Again, they've got the most web traffic they've had in their history recently, and that is not a bad place to be. All right, Global Foundries. NEO with bullish engulfing candle. I'll never look up NEO. I hate Chinese stocks. I just won't support it. It's not because I don't like Chinese people. I love Chinese people. It's because I love them that I won't support their stock market, because I want the CCP to die. And I think until they die, I think we're going to have a very, very dangerous world, because Xi has made it very clear that he wants to disrupt the West and make it to where the South China Sea is territory they control and have full control over, and Taiwan is producing 93% of the advanced chips for the entire world. And so it's kind of important that that not happen, right? So, and there's a whole bunch of bad things they do, enslaving millions of people just because they're Muslims, like just really shitty stuff. I don't like that, and so I'm not going to pull up their fucking companies, and I'm not going to support investing in their country, and I'm definitely not doing that too, not just because of the fact I don't like the CCP. It's because the country is getting ready for economic collapse, and it will be the canary in the coal mine for us. So I don't want people to be the first to lose their money. All right, Global Foundries Incorporated. I like that chart, by the way, Intelligent Computing. Now, the revenue is flat. I don't love that, right? It's $1.85 billion. They're a $26 billion company. They've got a forward PE at 27. Net income's pretty flat. Let's see what they're guiding towards. They're guiding towards, again, just kind of slightly lower, like maybe stair-stepping down. I don't like it, man. Semiconductors, they're the Malta network. They're mostly institutional, no insider really ownership, and a little bit of retail. I don't know what the use case is for this one. You got more for me? Very mild Muslims. Yeah, they're very mild Muslims, and they've had their wives and daughters raped, and they've been imprisoned, and they harvest their fucking organs, and they do horrible things to these people. And if you don't believe me in the prison camp that they're living in, you haven't even tried hard to see any of the footage of it. It's fucking disgusting, and it blows my mind that people can be treated so poorly in this day and age, and so many other people can just not give a fuck about it. It's kind of shocking. If they were Jewish, they probably would hate it. All right. Let me see here. Let me go back. What just happened there? Did it do top chat? One sec here, guys. That was weird. I feel like I just zoomed around, or maybe I didn't start at the right place. No, it feels like this is mid-conversation. I don't know I might have fucked up the chat. I don't know. Let me see here. So, 25%, it won't pass either. Yep, okay, there's that. Biden's an idiot. Okay, on average, U.S. income taxes are higher than European countries. Yeah, it depends on the way you gauge it. Let me see here, scrolling down. I hope I didn't miss some. My chat got fucked up. I apologize, guys. I think I'm getting caught up now. All right, nice. Hey, Jesse, what type of multiple is the underlying do you typically consider with your leaps? I prefer at least 3x, but if I can get up to 10, great. Yeah, 4 to 5 would be fine. But you have to have a reasonable probability. You gotta think that there's an 80, maybe I should say 70 to 90% chance that you hit your targets, and you can reap rewards from those 3 to 5, maybe even 10x multiple, right? So it's got to be a high probability, and then you have an asymmetric opportunity. That's how I do that. Intelligent computing, yeah, the flow stream deck rocks. Dude, it's so much better. Bearish, ACHL, very cheap biotech. Cash is 320. If I missed you today, guys, sorry about that. If I missed you today, I'm sorry. My chat got fucked up, and I don't quite know how to fix it right now. So I'm just going to start where I am. So today might have been effed, and I apologize. It comes with all this, I'm trying new things, guys. So it's just going to be one of those things where sometimes it'll have little hiccups, but all in all, it's going to be so worth it. Trust me. All right. So Achilles Therapeutics, no revenue. You already have me lost on this one. And they're losing $19 million. They had a cash burn. They've been going since 2021. So they're one of these 2021 flyers. They have no money coming in, no future whatsoever. I can't even look this up, dude. This sucks so fucking bad. It's $31 million. Unless there is something just fucking amazing. So again, I don't even care. Here's the thing with me and biotechs, guys. Get Arc Genomics. The options, I'll do another options video on it. I need to do an updated one anyway. People don't realize how cheap the fucking options are since I made my last video. The opportunities are even better now. I can maybe go over some of the stocks that they hold. Unless you have an in, unless you really know Achilles is going to fucking crush it, and we're at the beginning of this, or you can see something happening in their financial data, I have no way of gauging this. Because it's a $31 million company. Should it be zero? I don't fucking know. They've never made any money ever, right? Or scarily, if I went all the way back to, it looks like there's data from 2019, but went all the way back and they were making money and then they hadn't made some in 3 years, that would be even more scary, okay? So that's the way I feel about these biotechs and just anything else that's never made a fucking dime. All right, Dan24 up. I can't sign up for Robinhood, so I hit the fucking like button. Bro, that works. That fucking works. That's acceptable. Yeah, I don't care if it's at all-time lows. It might deserve to be there. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. But yeah, you're probably just saying that. But yeah, I don't know. Again, I just think it's shit. And I'd love for them to prove me wrong with numbers. Here's the thing. I'm not a venture capitalist yet. If I want to just help support, and even if I am a VC, even if I turn into a VC in the future, I'm like a baby one now, because I can do some private funding rounds and some stuff, right? But if I'm doing VC, I'm going to put it in companies that I believe have an amazing team and have a vision and have an opportunity to succeed. And if they don't have revenue for a little bit and I know everything they're executing with, fucking great. I know jack shit about this company. So it's like you can't be a VC, and don't throw away your money on so many good bets that are asymmetric opportunities. Just don't lose them. Don't lose your money on things that just aren't. Kamawa, it was a contract with NHS in the UK. I'm not sure what that was in reference to, if that's ACHL or something else. Again, my chat got fucked up. Intelligent computing, Zachary Swinsky, good question. What was his question? Oh, and I already answered it. Good. Andres, could we check Coinbase? Nice little pump at the end of the day. Cool. Let's do it. Yeah, Coin. Maybe that's one I'll add on my stream deck. Can't wait to get all this stuff going, man. So excited. I'm excited to gain efficiency. Oh, it's so fucking awesome. It's a nice pattern here on Coinbase. It's a nice pattern. Chart's a little fucked up just because of, you know what? I might need to redraw this. Yeah, I do. I need to redraw this. I just need to do this. This is just such a bad chart to live off of. We're going to do something different here. We're going to do this. We're going to look at the major bottom that it had before it had kind of a dead cat bounce. I'm going to see if this chart is a better visual for us. And then I'm going to draw it back up to the actual bottom. So you can see this very clear resistance here, right? You can see how we broke above it. We really don't have a lot guiding us right now, unless maybe we can get something on the monthly. No, we don't, because again, this thing's just traded so shortly on the public market that we don't have a lot to run with. So it's going to be 287. That's your next resistance zone, obviously right around there. And then again, once like this 340-ish range, and once we break above that, it's 420, and then it's off. It's 420, is it really? Oh my God, it's real fucking close, 430. So this thing's set to go. I do think, it's $57 billion. If I just looked here real quick, let me see where Hood is. Hood is a $15 billion company. So arguably, Coinbase is a lot larger, but they're also getting the benefit of the ETFs. Very excited about earnings for Coinbase. We'll be doing that one for sure, guys. That one will probably supersede a lot of other stuff. All right. But yeah, I like Coinbase. Looks good. Let's see what else we got here. Ran High, Paula Milligan. Can you take a look at NTLA, please, Jesse? Jesse. Jesssie is a girl's name. Just, future reference. All right, NTLA. And only Jessies will appreciate that. All right, NTLA. Which one is this? Intellia Therapeutics. Is this like a Biomed 2? I mean, this thing's been fucking crushed. It's got that going for it. Can I say that? It could technically maybe get to the 17s. Oh, we're almost above peak volume on the local. Okay, so yeah, this thing's just been a bleeder. Let's see why. Why does this thing bleed? Why do you bleed, Nutella? A delicious version of chocolate. Intellia. Okay, there you go. Why are you bleeding on us? Oh, you had a quarter where you didn't have any money. Oh, and that net income, $132 million in burn a quarter. Diluting shares like a motherfucker. Remember how I was telling you it's shittier if you had good revenue and then it's all going away? This is about as shitty as it could get, right? You had a quarter where your income just stopped. Can you tell me why? Can you tell me why this company's income just stopped? Yeah, intelligent computing, Coin, 3 steps forward, 1 step back. I would totally agree with that. That's exactly what happens with it. Gartop 33, today biotech Agenus soared 40%. If you could take a look. Yeah, I'll try and look at that one. James Harold, thanks, Jesse. Unfortunately, I have to drop. Enjoy your weekend. You too, buddy. Love you guys. All right. So I don't love this. I can't even gauge this. I don't like companies that don't make money and that burn it all, especially if they do a high amount of stock-based comp. Holy shit. So that's why they had no revenue, because they gave themselves a shit ton of stock. All the better to dump on you, my friends. So I'm going to say, I'm just at a glance, I'm just going to say fuck you on that one. Not to you, of course. To NTLA. One of the shittier tickers I've looked at recently. Or financials. I didn't technically look at the ticker. Run away. Fucking run away. That looks frightening as shit. Hey guys, this is what you pay me for. Just to be clear. Intelligent computing, according to Rex Finance. Flux leadership plans to 10x over the next 3 years or so. Wow. I got 55 grand in that one. Fuck yeah. And I'm going to be doing Flux earnings. I don't know if Rex is doing it too. Rex, if you watch these, hit me up, dude, if you want to do an earnings together for Flux. Actually, I'll probably hit you up. That's probably the better way to do it, since I kind of stole your work. Shouldn't say stole. Borrowed your work and then presented how great it was to everybody else. That's probably a little more accurate anyway. But yeah, let's do the earnings together, bro. I like you. You're pretty awesome at what you do. Luis Martinez, MicroStrategy earnings should be Tuesday morning. I won't be following those though, because it's PayPal earnings, and MicroStrategy earnings won't fucking matter. It'll be I might actually pull it up. Maybe I'll do a dual chart and I'll have PayPal earnings or the stock up and the MicroStrategy stock, just so we can track it. But here's the thing. It's FASB accounting rules, and we already know how they did in Q1. They're going to be fucking awesome. The only thing that might even be better is if they do some kind of like dividend thing, or if they announce some major stock buybacks, or not stock buyback, but dilution, because they're going to buy more Bitcoin in the future. There'll be some things that move it, but otherwise their actual company doesn't matter anymore, and so the earnings aren't really applicable. Leif, or Leif, I can't quite tell what that, I think it's an I, Leif. Any chance you can look at STEM, not great macro for a project for financing, but adjacent to energy storage trend? Yeah, I can do that. Let me see who these guys are. And I'm going to start pulling up financials on new ones first, guys. It's just way better for me to look at them there. Have to head out. See you, Alex. Take it easy, man. Have a great weekend. Kumar, hey, Jesse, can I apply for your position, man? Yeah, hey, probably. I'm not opening it yet. I need more money first. More people need to join. So if people want to contribute $3, then I'll be able to hire more people. And yeah, I'll take all kinds of resumes. And again, I'll probably open at least 2 jobs. One is an editor. And then also, again, one is like a news tech coordinator that helps kind of pull in stuff. Or I might open up a Discord. You know what, real quickly. For the people that are left, you guys are the hardcore ones anyway. I'm gonna do this real quick. I want to start a poll. I want to get your guys' take on this. Should I start a Discord for YouTube? I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Members only. Or maybe I make it $1. I don't know how I can keep the IDs separate. Maybe I'll make it super fucking cheap in the Discord. Fuck, I'll have to figure it out. But should I open a Discord for YouTube members where we can talk back and forth and share key data with each other? And then I'll have to see if I get some admins on that. Oh, no, I don't want that. Let me see here. How do I start the poll? I want to get rid of that. And then I want to start the poll. How do I start the fucking poll? Your question is too long. Okay, whatever. This is, should I start a Discord? And again, this is so we can communicate with each other. If you guys could just kind of jump into that and give your vote, that would be cool. Yes, please do payment. Yes, no Discord. Discord is owned by Chinese. Oh, it is? I didn't know that. Yeah, I don't love that. Can I do a page for it? I don't know. I just want a place where people can talk with each other. If anybody has alternatives. So the vote here isn't just about Discord. It's about whether or not you like the idea of us being able to communicate with each other in one centralized place. No, it's not a Chinese company. I don't like Telegram. I'm not doing any like stock, like here's a quick stock tip thing. I'm just gonna do YouTube videos with any of that stuff. So I don't like that, and I just think a Telegram is sleazy. Plus, Telegram, isn't that a Russian company? Pretty sure it is, which is probably even worse than China right now. Discord is best. Ask anybody. I think Discord's the best too. Anyway, so the whole idea, guys. Oh, Dennis, thank you for being a member, man. So you'll be able to do a stock pick in the future, and then you'll also be able to talk and chat here. And then if we figure out if we're doing a Discord, we'll try and figure that out too. Okay. But yeah, I want it to where I just want it to where we can communicate information and have a group where we're learning from each other, and maybe where we can share content and have like folders for different stocks we're invested in that we talk about in the channel. I don't know. We just gotta. It's not a moneymaker for me. I just want to figure out how we can step up our game. All right, I'm going to end the poll. I think I'm going to say that the idea of Discord is a positive one, and that I just need to figure out its implementation, and if it is Discord. Patreon can be $1 a month, but it's more works, and you're already time balancing your... Yeah, I don't want to have to manage too much of anything. I just want a place where we can share information quickly, where if people find things, you can only do so much on X, right? Like, you guys can tag me, and not everybody's on X, but I like the idea of like a centralized place where we're sharing information, and you can kind of organize it and structure it maybe in different like chat rooms. I like that concept. I just need to figure out what that looks like and how it can be implemented. Yeah, I'll figure it out. Okay, so we'll get off of that. I need to stew through that more. I do like the idea of it. I think we can help each other more. You guys can help me, and I can help you, and we can really track things better. If some people are willing to participate in it. So we'll figure that out. All right. Any chance can look at Sim? Oh, we did that one. It's like 3 times earnings. Hong Kong. Okay, Stem. Let's get back to Stem. So Stem was growing, and they've got some debt. They're kind of burning down on cash. They aren't making a lot of money. They're losing $37 million a quarter. 167 million in income. Kind of starting to almost get cash flow positive. Let me see. Their estimates are very cyclical. This is very cyclical. So if this holds to be true, when is their peak? Is it Q4? It's Q4. And these only go out to Q3. So they are a growth company. And it looks like this year is going to be better. If we get any kind of jump in Q4 that's better than this, because I mean, look at the previous Q3s. There's some interesting nuance to this one. And this is Q3 here. So that's a hell of a jump. So what does Q4 look like? So that's actually makes this more interesting. I like that there's been a little more buying recently. It looked like a cash grab on... Well, the bottom... I don't know. It's weird. It's hard to know what insiders are doing on this one, what they're thinking. Now, there was a big stock-based comp back in 2021. So these guys just kind of had their thing. This is interesting. Over here... Again, cyclical nature, but you can see where they're really spreading between their operating expenses and what's happening each cycle. We're not even done with this one yet. So that's interesting. And again, what are they bringing in? So they're 288 million. This is fucking interesting, bro. This is fucking interesting. You got me on this one. The NVO is another one that I'm kind of taking a look at. I got a bunch of these to go over this weekend. Very interesting play. I'm just going to stick with that for now. All right, so I don't know that I'm going to do a lot more on this one, but this is something I'm going to dig into deeper, okay? I like it. I really like it. Just at a glance. I need to understand more, but this is fascinating. The valuation on this is fascinating. The fact that they're a $288 million market cap, but the enterprise is 779, and if we look here, they're bringing in 167 million in revenue, and their estimate is to get, substantially. I mean, that was one of the recent peaks, but their estimate could be like 300 million in revenue, which is the current valuation of their company. And so we're seeing some, it's seasonal, but we're seeing some growth here, where this could be turning into a real company, and recent activity has them buying more shares than selling. So this valuation could really flip around. You have me interested, bro. You really do. This is nice. Oh, I love it between the efficiency gains that I'm getting recently and the stuff you guys bring up. And then with these other tools I'm bringing in, it's going to be so fucking crazy. It's going to be so much fun. All right, let's keep going. Hong Kong on 30th. Yeah, don't forget that, guys. Bitcoin. Oh, and you know what? I didn't even finish my Bitcoin segment, did I? I don't think I did. No, I didn't. I got to go back. So I did want to talk. Let me see here. Let me see. Where did I have Bitcoin? I must have buried it in here somewhere. I'll just go over here and pull it up. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I don't think I actually did all this. I skipped it. Need to get my order of operations down. So I had posted this earlier, and there's a ton of stuff like this, guys. But I want you to be assured that you know that I am looking to see when the top is happening. And so this is one thing that I posted earlier. It just said, if you look at total transaction fees, now this is block rewards and transaction fees, and you look at major drops in volume, you can figure out before you get way down towards the trough of the bear market that you're already in trouble and that the top was done. So this is a little bit later. I think the Pi cycle, I think the MRVZ score, I think there's just a bunch of others that are better. The rainbow, there's just so many good indicators for bottoms. But this is just yet another confirmation of a bottom. If you look over here, you can see back in whatever time frame this is, 2013, 14, you could see where we had really strong transactions. And then right about this time where we had peaked, they were falling down. And then by the time we were like over here, they were at the bottom. And then once volumes just fell off a cliff, you could have, that once you get it all the way up, you're still going to get a bounce. You almost always get a bounce, guys. And so you have this opportunity to get really close back to what the high is after you've confirmed that volumes have fallen off. And so the same thing happened over here in 2017. You could see where volumes were just massive and they had plummeted. And so you could have got this bounce where, again, we filled a decent amount. I don't know if it was like 16K or what it was at, but you could have just said, oh, okay, volumes are all the way down. This is confirmation. Cycle's over. We've had a massively precipitous decline. And I'm going to sell this once we get our next good bounce. And when we got that bounce, you could have got out of it at 16 and then not rode this thing all the way down to fucking 3, right? And the same kind of thing happened last cycle where we had our double top. Again, the Fed raising at the most aggressive rate in history. And, let me just do this. I should zoom in. It's kind of hard to see. And the Fed raising at the most aggressive rate in history, you could see volumes were already gone when we were climbing up over here. So when we established, this would have been a great thing for the last cycle. It would have been at its most perfect, because if we had seen this massive drop in transaction volume and paid attention to this, then when we were creeping back up towards an all-time high, you would have had a strong indication that this was a double top and you should get the fuck out. And you might have been able to get out at the $60,000 level, right? And not rode this fucker all the way down to 15. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, wouldn't have, that have been nice. This was a great confirmation of that. So again, just another tool in our arsenal to both identify and determine, when we've topped. And there's so many tools for bottoming, guys. I'm really fucking good at bottoming. Okay, I'm really good at that. That sounds weird, but you guys know what I mean. Getting the bottom. That doesn't sound better. All right, here we go. I've been telling people for a while that companies will start buying Bitcoin for their balance sheets. It just keeps coming. Japanese public company Metaplanet just bought $6.25 million worth of Bitcoin. We've seen a few of these recently, kind of a big deal. Stripe, I think this was yesterday. Yesterday, said that they're going to accept crypto payments starting with Coinbase's USDC. 2.84 million live websites use Stripe. 100 plus companies process over 1 billion each with Stripe. This is another thing where you guys have to realize, PayPal had $300 million in USD printed. Their PYUSD is starting to get out there more and more and more. They're going to make a ton float off of that, guys. And Stripe doing this too. This is helping Coinbase, and we're just seeing really beautiful shit happening in the Bitcoin space and crypto space. Now I posted this as well. This is just talking about the percent miner revenues from fees. So this isn't including block rewards. But the thing I wanted to notate here, guys, and this was because of runes. Just if you don't know what those are, it doesn't fucking matter. It's just think NFTs. Now, the thing I want to point out here is that we're seeing higher transaction fees at a really interesting time. Some of the highest fees that we've seen in the history of it. Now we come back down a little bit from this afterwards, But again, this is another sign. I don't think this is going away. So last cycle, we had the NFTs were all on Ethereum, but right now it seems like the ones that, like the memes that are doing well on Solana and maybe a few other chains, and there's a few on Ethereum. But the NFT stuff, the rune type stuff, these things all seem to be like they're finding life on the Bitcoin network. And so I just want to reiterate that going back to the beginning of time for Bitcoin's history, we have this green line. And that is where we were yesterday. We're a little bit lower than that today, so it's still falling. But I just wanted you to see how high the transaction fees got as a percent of miner revenue from fees versus the entire history of this network. And it is fucking insane. It's fucking insane. And when these narratives that occur at the beginning of cycles, they don't usually stop. So I think that this could be a massive offset for loss in revenues for the miners for Q2 that might surprise people coming into Q3 when we have Q2 earnings. I just want you guys to know this. You guys need to pay attention to this kind of shit. I'll be watching it, and I'll hopefully be watching it with a bunch of tools. Again, I think that was it for that. All right, let's go back over. And I think I might actually, guys, I might call it. It's Friday. I'm going to get better and cleaner at this going forward. I'm hoping to keep these down to an hour and a half instead of like 2-hour mega streams. But if we do a 2-hour mega, it's probably because we're getting through the entirety of the chat. So we're going to get better at this in the future. And again, when I publish, I'm going to try and publish early in the morning these streams. If you go to them and you've got the alerts set, then you're going to be able to go to them and you're going to be able to see that. And you're going to be able to put your comments in right away so that you're at the top of the list, okay? So do that if you want your stuff worked quickly, or if you get missed for a day or two, put yourself at the top, okay? By doing that. And otherwise, again, like if you haven't, comment after this if you could, and enjoy your weekend. Let's have a great time, guys. We're gonna rock. Everything I'm doing is just gonna get better and better and better, and you're gonna see that stuff coming in the future. And again, just enjoy your weekend, have a great time, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right, peace out. Bye.